Hi, I'm Matt.
Hey, I'm Bianca.
And in this episode, we're talking about age differences in the lifestyle. Are they a good idea, bad idea? What do you think?
So stay tuned.
So age differences. Are they a good idea? I mean, it's interesting because being in the lifestyle, you tend to connect with people of all shapes and sizes.
Sure.
And of course, one of those things is ages as well. And since we've been in the lifestyle, we have noticed the ages change. I mean, we've been doing this now for a little over a decade. And when we first got into it, like, being in our 30s, we were just like, there really just weren't that many people, and let alone there were nobody in their 20s.
Right.
And I even remember one of those things where they were like, oh, being in your 20s, that's not a good idea to be a swinger at that age because you haven't had a relationship long enough to be able to communicate properly. And there was actually a negative stigma about being in your 20s and lifestyle. But then suddenly you get into your 30s and people start doing it. And then 40s was kind of the big thing in 50s. But as we've seen over the last few years, the age has gotten lower.
Right.
Like there are a lot of people in their 20s now,
Right.
that are doing it, and it is interesting to see that sometimes we'll be talking to a couple that's like barely older than our kids, or as old as our parents.
Right.
And it's really interesting because things you wouldn't think about in your normal, like, I don't know, I say growing up, but just like, the things you think about, the people that you fantasize, it's generally oftentimes in people of approximately the same age that you might think about or not. And it is interesting. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I love the fact that the people who are younger are finding the lifestyle are making it more okay and more common, I feel like. Coming out to the public about doing this with even polyamory and all the different types of the ethically non-monogamous relationships. I love that is becoming like common. So it's less of a taboo now. I think it's great. I think it's great that there's all ages. I mean, why should there be an age limit on any direction within the lifestyle? What
do you feel about being with someone considerably younger than you?
I'm not a huge fan.
Why not?
I can say I've not had the best experiences. And maybe it depends. I wouldn't necessarily hold it against them if they were younger than me. I might feel a little uncomfortable because for me, as someone who I like to get to know the person and get to have that more of a connection. It's not just about fucking. I like to have that connection and something in common. I guess I just feel when I start talking about like my kids or, whatever, as you age, this is going on. It's like, definitely not like you start to have a conversation with someone who's younger and then you're like, oh my God, this is so not sexy. Like I could have the same conversation about whatever this is with someone like closer to my age, like a friend of mine closer to my age. And it is what it is. We both are having the same issues, whatever. But then you talk to someone younger and I just feel like in my brain, I'm going, Bianca, shut up. Bianca, shut up. Shut up, Bianca. But I can't stop talking
for
because
example?
it's me. I had my hips replaced.
Oh. Yeah.
Who wants to talk about that? That's not sexy. But people my age are like, oh, tell me more about that because you are quite young to have that done, And so, but then, you're trying to talk to someone and, they're bringing up their ailments and I'm like, oh, dude, I got you. Like, yeah.
So you connect better. You connect better with the people 20 years older than you then.
I feel because we all have had hip surgeries. Yeah. I just feel like it just makes me kind of uncomfortable when I'm with someone younger because I just don't know what to talk to them about to connect on that level. Like I can talk to them about sex and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I want more. I want more in a connection with someone. And so I just don't want to feel old.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying specifically from the conversation standpoint because I mean there was a woman that I used to date who was considerably younger than me, and I remember it would come up in conversation. Oh, do you remember that show from the 80s that we used to watch? And she'd be like, I've never even heard of this before. I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah, I know, I totally get exactly what you're talking about as far as that's concerned. There are those conversations that when you have an age difference, it oftentimes is like talking to someone of a different generation, where you might say something like that, and it makes you feel old.
Right. Yeah.
Now, but from the sex standpoint, see, now you say that you haven't had good experiences. I've had very good experiences with people of, well, considerably younger than me, and we'll get to the older than we'll get to that. But like for women that are considerably younger than me, I've been with quite a few women that have been in their 20s or whatever, and the sex has been really, really good. But that's just the sex.
Right.
That's just the sex. I mean, we have some friends that are considerably younger than us, and we've had some great times with them, and that we've connected with numerous times, and it's been fantastic. But we'll keep those types of conversations kind of out of it, as far as, you know.
Well, that's when I'm talking, and I'm like, stop talking.
Sure. So you said you haven't had good experiences, like.
I mean, as far as I know, I've only been with a couple of younger gentlemen.
Quite a bit younger.
Yeah, and I know there was the one time where it was definitely not enjoyable for me whatsoever.
Why?
He was like a just bunny, just like hurrying as fast as he can, but he was also very much like squirrel. Like I'm right here, and kind of. I think what could have been the issue with that though is that he was a single gent. He was not a couple, and so that could have been very much the issue, that he was not in a relationship, a long-term marriage or a long-term committed relationship with someone, so that, you know, who knows how much practice he's had. I mean, that's the thing, is I feel like people closer to my age or older have had a lot of practice.
Okay.
So people younger, I'm just not the person who wants to go training them. You know, like that's just not what I want to do. And I'm not opposed to someone younger in the bedroom, but I haven't had the experience that makes me go, ooh, I want to experience that again and again. And I know some women love it. Some women want to be with younger men all the time, and I don't know if that makes them feel more, I don't know, younger or beautiful or cougary or whatever. But for me, like, I've got this amazing man here, so when I'm out having sex, I want a good time. I want to have fun.
Okay.
I don't want to just lay there and have you, like, jackhammer on me and not even care about me.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
I want you to have some sense of, am I enjoying this, or am I falling asleep, or am I staring off into space because I'm, like, waiting for a pause so that I can get out of this, you know? Like...
Well, that's interesting. I mean, it's interesting that you bring a lot of that up, because what you're telling me, as far as the negatives you've had with the gentleman that young, I feel like almost those are the positives that I've run into being with women that are quite a bit younger, because like you had mentioned that he was, you know, squirrel looking around and just kind of not focusing on you at all. But I have been with a few women that were quite a bit younger that have actually like ridiculously complimented me afterward, like, oh my God, greatest sex ever, which of course I'm like, yeah, thank you, but they like mean it, and I've always kind of wondered why, like, and you could say practice and all that, and that's probably a part of it, but I'm thinking about what you had just said as far as people in their 20s. Okay, so if a guy is in his 20s, and all, you know, he's new to sex, and he knows porn, which of course is not realistic,
right,
but everybody knows it, everybody's seen it, that's what he's getting his information from. And then on the opposing side, when I'm with a woman who's that same age, if she's only been with guys that are doing that, and suddenly there's a guy because I personally, people have said I'm very sensual, like I take my time, I focus, I do a lot of eye contact, all that kind of stuff, and I think that is just because that's so different than what they might be used to at that age, that maybe is something that they really like,
right,
and maybe that's a reason women tend to like older men, and even in your situation.
Well, and you being you feed off of that energy.
Right.
You know, when they're very, very excited about like how great it's going, you know, you feed off of that and want to give them more.
Yeah.
So you're both kind of getting something great out of that. Like they're getting this experience that they haven't really had because they've only been with people their own age, and you're getting that feedback, you know, of the words of affirmation of I love this so much and this is so great and wow and all that. That's feeding you. So you're all getting something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, well, that kind of tends to be a positive then when we do have friends, women that are a little bit older that like to be with the younger guys, like you had mentioned, because I think you had a friend that said something like training a puppy dog or something like that. Yeah. Because a lot of the young guys don't know what women like or what, you know, the many types of moves that can happen, all this kind of stuff. They just due to not having the practice, I guess, and the quantity of partners, that they like actually being the one that can actually teach a guy, hey, you want to step it up a notch, you want to move up to the next level with sex, you know, pay attention to what I'm telling you. Don't do this fast, don't do this move, turn this way, whatever it might be. And if the guy is willing to learn, then he will become better at sex. Because you ask anybody, you ask any guy if they're good at sex and they're going to say yes. I mean, no matter, you ask a 20-year-old, they're going to say, with one partner, they're going to say they're amazing. But obviously that's not the case because, like anything, practice makes better. So, and the more partners you have, the better you get. And so that is really interesting. Now, what do you think about older gentlemen then, from your perspective?
I think they're great. They're experienced. They're practiced. They kind of know how to like what points to hit. So yeah, I mean, I've had great experience. Now, I don't know, are you talking like older or like just my age?
Well, no, I'm talking about quite a bit older.
Quite a bit older?
Quite a bit older. Because, I mean, it's easy to say, okay, 5-10 years, whatever, between. Half the time you don't know how old somebody is, but sometimes it's more obvious than others where you're like, okay, someone's clearly in their 20s or someone's clearly in their 60s or whatever it might be that you can go, okay, so.
I mean, I feel like, I feel like once I get to my age and over, or right around, like a little younger than me and over, like it's all kind of the same.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't have a preference. I'm older guys, I dig them. They're hot, like much older, and my age, you know, great.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I feel like from my experiences, they've been about the same. I mean, you can't judge. Like I haven't been with a ton of older guys, much older guys. But again, I haven't been with a ton of much younger guys either. So the experiences I've had with the older guys, I have to say, they were good. I can't complain too much. Like, yeah, I don't. I mean, things that you think of, like if they're older, maybe they have problems getting it up or keeping it up or whatever. I don't think I've run into that quite a whole lot that I know of. You know,
but even
people our age have that issue.
That's right, and younger.
So it's and younger. I mean, it's so you can't even contribute that to age necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like honestly, I think the age that we should be discussing is the age of lifestyle.
Age of lifestyle. Okay.
Yeah, because
so what do you mean by that?
imagine you're brand new to the lifestyle. You're, gonna be a lot less experienced in the bedroom, possibly, not necessarily true, but or possibly less experienced just with others or an orgy situation or whatever.
Right.
But if you've been around a block for a while, you know what to do. You've been with many different people probably, and okay, like some women like this, but if they're not making that noise, maybe I switch up this because other women like this kind of thing, so I think the age that is more important is how long you've been in the lifestyle.
Okay.
Because we do sometimes tend to avoid newbies, because we don't know, is there going to be drama? If they haven't been in the lifestyle at all, like us being there first, are they going to have jealousy issues, and that kind of stuff. Like we try to avoid drama as much as possible. And that's not to say that we haven't been or would never go be with a newbie. We totally would. But we would want to make sure that they're very secure in their relationship and, feeling comfortable before we even get that far because we avoid the drama. So yeah, I think, but you've been with a couple, married or not, it doesn't even matter, just that they've been in a committed relationship for a long time, that seems to be the better partners.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, because I feel that, you say age of, or how long someone's been in the lifestyle. Of course, that's important from the perspective of we tend to stay away from, stay away from, but we tiptoe around new couples because we just don't know. But that's not really about the sex. It's more about their relationship. Are they going to flip out? Is one of them going to start crying? Are they going to get in a fist fight? Whatever. All of those. Those are the reasons generally that people that have been doing it for a while will tend to tiptoe around new couples. It's not the quality of the sex.
True.
Because I got to say now, from my perspective, it's not that I don't care how good or bad the woman is. Because I would say experiences, we've had many, 99.9 of them have been amazing to me. Mm-hmm. Whether the sex was good or the sex was bad, or whether she lied there like a dead fish, or whether she was vigorous, or whatever it might be, I just love the experience so much.
Absolutely.
And so that really just hasn't mattered to me, where I'm like, she's only had, a couple of partners in her life. Is she going to be lousy at sex? I just don't even think of that. And if I went back and I started to go through different people, I'm like, that one time that she didn't do anything, or she didn't do anything for me. Was that bad? And even then, I would say not really.
I don't feel like I have had really any bad experiences.
Okay.
I've just had experiences, right?
Okay.
There's nothing that I've experienced that, or very little that I've experienced that I would say that was a bad experience.
Okay.
And I think that just having some sort of experience within the lifestyle is... I totally lost my train of thought.
No, that was deep. That was poetic.
I don't know where I was going. I got distracted because then I was thinking about, I haven't had any bad experiences, and I thought of one where I was like, oh wait, that was not a good one.
But that had nothing to do with the gentleman's age. So
it had nothing to do with his age, no. Or experience or anything.
Yeah, no, I can't think of any situations, good or bad, that have been specifically because of their age, more than what you were talking about. If you're having a conversation and you say something about your hips that makes you feel old.
I think it just comes down to, attraction, who you're attracted to. And I know a lot of people are attracted to certain ages or whatever. And I'm definitely attracted to a person first, but I feel like I do look at someone, and if they look to be too young, I'm not going to try to go out of my way to have a conversation with them.
Because you think that they're going to be selfish and bad.
No, honestly, it's probably I'm intimidated by them.
You're intimidated by them.
I'm intimidated by them because I am older, and I'm like, well, they're not going to want to be with me because I'm older. Oh. I don't even think that they would even want to cross that line, and so why bother?
Well, I can tell you from the thousands of comments that you get on every single video about how hot you are, basing from guys from 18 to 85, there's probably some younger guys that would be willing to have sex to show you that they're better than that other guy who was just a jackrabbit and didn't try very hard. So I'm sure they're out there.
I don't know.
So there's no reason to be intimidated. But I totally get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. Yeah. Sometimes, and a lot of that isn't really age necessarily. It's sometimes you look at someone and you're like, wow, that person is really hot.
Yeah.
Like you're like, wow, they are so much hotter than me. Why should I even try?
Right.
Or why should I even talk to that person? And that's just not the right attitude to have, because, as you say, it's more personality than anything. Mm-hmm. And that's both men and women. That really, personality will get you very, very far. Mm-hmm. And that's what people probably should work on in addition to their sex skills.
True. Yes. Work on their personality. Like, have a good personality, okay?
Have a good personality.
Figure that out.
If we can teach you nothing else.
Get your shit figured out and have a good personality.
Then Bianca will want to have sex with you. Perfect. And don't be a jackrabbit.
Don't be a jackrabbit. Unless it's in a good way. Is there a good way to do that?
No. You start out slow and you eventually jackrabbit. Yeah. Okay, great. And with that, to those words of encouragement, go to www.clubsapphire.net and check out all the amazing events that are happening, that are coming up. They're doing stuff numerous days a week now. The place is back open. Everything's running like clockwork around here, and it's so much fun.
Yes.
If you haven't been here yet, or you've put it off, or you stayed away for a couple years, just come on back. Come on back. It's going to be a party like you haven't seen, and it's so much fun. And do as much or as little as you want to.
Yep.
And have fun. Just more than anything, what we always tell people if they've never been here before is come to just talk to people.
Yeah.
Just talk to people.
Don't have any expectations.
Don't have expectations about having sex with anyone. If that happens, it happens. But it's not really about that. It's more about coming in here and seeing, wow, these people are really cool. Mm-hmm. Like everybody, you could talk to any random person in here, and you'll have a best friend in minutes. I mean, it's crazy that people are as nice and friendly, as open as they are in the lifestyle. You've never seen anything like that if you're brand new, and you're gonna love that. So go to www.clubsapphire.net and then pick out a party, and then just kind of come.
Yeah.
And if you see us here, make sure you come and say hi.
Yes.
Perfect. Anything else you want to say?
Also, check out the website and book your Westport trip.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have openings still, but if not, they're doing one in June, I believe, and then October. So get your room reserved before they're all gone, because that's a super fun trip to do as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.